The COVID-19 crisis is hurting just about everybody in one way or another. Rita Braver has been talking to working mothers who say they're in a particularly stressful bind.
For Clara Vasquez, a home health aide in the farming town of Sunnyside, Washington, the pandemic has created a new level of anxiety.
Well, I'm here to take care of people that need me, but who can take care of my son? I don't have no one.
She and her husband, Augustin, a long-haul truck driver, barely make ends meet. With school now online, they can't afford a regular sitter for 7-year-old Kevin and must rely on a patchwork of friends and family.
And one of the things that my son always says when he goes to bed is, who's going to watch me? He worries. He can't sleep right because he doesn't know where he's going to be. So it's heartbreaking to me because there's days where I just say, I'm just going to see who answers me so I can drop you off.
She fears he's falling behind in his schoolwork and yearns to be home to help. Financially, how hard would it be for you if you had to stop working?
It's just going to put us more into debt, and I just can't afford to leave my job because if I do, I won't be able to pay my bill.
Mothers are in an impossible situation. They're doing their own job, their child care workers' job, and their children's teachers' jobs.
Professor Joan C. Williams is founding director of the Center for Work-Life Law at the University of California's Hastings College of the Law. What's your call volume like now during the pandemic versus what it is in normal times?
Absolutely unbelievable. We've had a 250% increase in people calling us.
Washington did provide some early relief for families, but many people were ineligible, and most of that money has already run out. And while plenty of fathers are struggling, a new study shows that women are almost 3 times more likely than men not to be working due to childcare demands because of the pandemic.
57% of moms now report depression and anxiety compared to only a third of dads. 80% of mothers now say they're doing most or all of the housework and homeschooling.
It's almost like people were just holding it together and the whole infrastructure is crumbling.
Well, you know, we were already in a crazy situation in the United States. I mean, we're the only industrialized nation with no paid parental leave. It was a Rube Goldberg machine from the beginning, and it just broke.
You may have seen the funny images of multitasking moms, but Williams says many mothers are facing serious indifference or even hostility from employers.
All of them are feeling really, really embattled right now.
I was working for a Fortune 50 institution. I was working as one of the leadership in that organization's cybersecurity department.
But it all collapsed in March. Danielle Mia's company told everyone to work from home. Because of COVID-19, her babysitter could not come to the house. Her husband helped, but has a high-pressure job too. Mia had most of the responsibility for baby Logan. How did the company react toward this circumstance that you were in?
I worked in a primarily male-dominated environment. You know, I started noticing comments here and there that suggested people were not comfortable with it. You know, having the baby on a call with me or like bringing him onto a conference line would make people uncomfortable. So
Uncomfortable because they didn't like seeing a baby in a work environment?
I just kind of received veiled questions like, you know, when does he eat or like does he ever sleep? And I also felt bad because I wasn't dedicating the same amount of attention and care that I normally would to the staff or to the call or to the meeting because I was preoccupied with him. It got tricky very quickly.
Soon she found herself left out of key meetings.
And actually someone made that comment to me of, we're just not going to invite you because you're off doing mommy duty.
Did you ever talk to superiors in the company and say, look, I'm struggling here, can you give me some relief?
I did. And the response was, you have to do these things or your career's in jeopardy. And that, to me, felt like a threat.
She finally resigned. You couldn't struggle anymore.
Yeah. And that's what kills me, truly. This was a job that I had worked for 10 years, you know, minimum. I'd busted my butt to get there. I was bitter. I was really angry.
Mia was able to find a new family-friendly job at a similar salary, but not everyone is so lucky.
I'm still unemployed. It's been a few months, and I've been looking every single week.
Do you want to color? Come on.
The San Diego insurance company where Drisana Rios was an account executive switched to work at home just as her 1- and 4-year-old's preschool shut down. Her husband's an essential worker gone all day. She says her manager immediately laid down the law.
He right away would say, I do not want to hear the kids on client calls.
Didn't want to hear them.
Yeah, he didn't want to hear them on client calls or see them, right? He would just question, my availability, which I didn't understand because I was available all the time.
She says a male colleague with children was treated differently, but no matter how hard she tried, she says her boss would not let up.
And I said, what else do you want me to do? Do you want me to lock my 1-year-old in a room on his own? And he just responded, figure it out. So,
Figure it out.
and I was just crying. I'm like, okay. So I reported the discrimination to HR via email. And a week later, they let me go. And I believe it is 100% retaliation for bringing this up because I was doing my job.
So the case is for wrongful termination and retaliation.
Daphne Delvaux is suing on behalf of Rios. In its legal response, Hub International Insurance Services denies each and every allegation Rios makes and says that she was let go for legitimate business reasons, including her failure to perform her job duties. But Rios is part of a trend. The government just announced that 865,000 women left the workforce last month versus 216,000 men.
This virus doesn't just cause people to die, but it's actually killing the working mothers' careers. I feel like women are being set back decades in their progress towards equality at work.
Hey, could you give me a high five? Good job.
And mothers like Drisana Rios are sounding an alarm.
I don't ever want a mom to feel like I do, that they have to choose to either work and not have kids or be a stay-at-home mom. We could have both. We could be working mothers.